Hey guys, I just wanted to jump on and share some things with you. I don't keep up with this kind of stuff too much, and honestly, if I hadn't seen it on YouTube, I would have never known about this. But I guess Justin Bieber put out a gospel album, and I don't know too much about Justin Bieber. I'm not other than some songs that I would like listen to by the pool and think were fun songs. I haven't listened to too much of his music. But I saw some really critical, negative reviews, and here's the thing: a lot of them were by Christians. So now I did look up the lyrics for two songs that I thought were totally different in meaning. And one was really beautiful. One, but, had some meanings that, of course, might not have been the most Christian. But I feel like you can, pick and choose for yourself. You can figure out which one is good and which one's bad. It's pretty self-explanatory. So, uh, but here's a comment, okay? One comment says about him, he has no anointing, he is not a Christian or born again. Like, how do we know that? How do we know that? We only know what we see, but then that would still be not the whole story at all. Um, you know, Only he can know that. And it just kind of made me think of, Christians, as Christians, how we judge each other. And it sometimes there's very little room for error, and it's kind of brutal, you know. Um, and from a biblical perspective, okay, I wanted to share a few verses that, while and I truly respect anyone who made a video or came out and said, I don't agree with this. Don't think this is what, is this or that. You do what you have to do. But I will say this: I do believe that a lot of times doing that is hurting more than it's helping. You know, because of a lot of reasons. You know, to give some Bible verses here. To just start off with, if anyone thinks they are something they're not, they deceive themselves. So when we think that we have the moral high ground to come in and condemn someone else. And first of all, it says that you're supposed to go to the brother, the other person, which would be the other person, and speak to them privately. You don't need to call them out in front of everyone. That's it. For people that are not Christian, I feel like it just makes it look like we're fighting, and even kind of worse. So. So not everyone is in the same place. I see a lot of good that can come from, someone having a fan base and a platform where, maybe no one had ever heard about God that is, like they'd never heard about God that is a fan of his. So, I think sometimes we forget where we came from. And if you weren't born into the church, and you weren't raised in the church, and you've been a Christian a long time, never forget where you came from. It's there's a starting point for everyone. So we can't hold, we can't, you know, we can't hold everyone accountable. That's, it would be like, a baby and a grown up. There are different levels. It goes differently. So, but to come out and say that's wrong, I have a problem with that. I have an issue with that because, well, I mean, there are ways to do it. And of course you stand for what you believe, but you also, if you're going to cite the Bible, you need to cite the verses too that say all speech should be for edification. It shouldn't be, you're also supposed to go to someone in private. You're judge not lest you be judged. We can all point to each other and say, oh, you did this, you did that. That would be a never-ending cycle. So, I mean, sometimes you have to look at I feel like at the heart of the person. You don't have to go out there and say what they did was great if you don't like it, but you also don't have to condemn it for, to everyone else, I don't know. And then I heard I heard a statement that kind of drives me nuts where, and Christians say this a lot, I was trying to give him grace. You don't need to give anyone grace. You needed grace at once. We all need grace, and we need it every single day. We need it every single day. And I don't know about you, but from where I came from, I have no room to ever judge anyone, okay? There's discernment. There's, like this person seems a little off in my soul, so maybe I'm not gonna, spend too much time with them. And then you can separate yourself or whatever. But, to come out and publicly do it, I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I hope I'm not looking like I'm doing that, but I'm not saying anything specific about, it's a general concept, and I've thought about it a lot way before this, is that, the whole Christian gem thing, like, I am pious beyond reproach, I have reached the mountaintop. I can't relate anymore to that because I remember where I came from. I am so humbled that, that I'm not still there. But never ever do I forget it and how quickly it can go back to being that way. Sometimes I just think that you don't give up your ideals and you don't give up your standards, but you can sometimes, people need small bites sometimes, we don't need to like overwhelm them and throw it at them so they're like, just totally overwhelmed when they don't even know what you're talking about. I mean, for someone who's never heard of the Bible, someone who's never heard of the concept of being a Christian, you're you're expecting a lot just to dump on at once. So baby steps, and I just it's everyone has a starting point. Everybody has a starting point, and I think we need to just we need to remember that we need to give each other some space to be human, and look at the efforts people are making and think, is this going to cause a good will this be more edifying than it will be tearing down? And to me, I found it not to be that constructive. And I gotta be honest. There is nothing more, like, give me someone who is a non-believer any day over a Christian who thinks they are God. Sorry. I'm sorry. You know, I can't relate to that. I can't. When you are so above and you are at the top of the mountain and you are the Christian gem, and even when you just speak judgment over others, people stop listening. They don't listen anymore because they don't want to hear that. You know. Now, in the same way, I do want to say this. In the same way, you know, you look at Jesus. Never once, ever, did he, I'm losing my words here, did he compromise his beliefs? Never once. He never stooped to anything he didn't believe, and he never went against his principles, or the truth, okay, because he's the truth. But he also didn't go to people and say, I can't heal you because you're not okay enough for me to heal. I'm sorry. You know, he ate with sinners. He ate with, people that no one else wanted to talk to. He said, "Come on, let's hang out. Because why? Because he knew after hanging out with him, they were going to be changed." And so I kind of look at him as the example that, you don't do everything at once. It's a step. And then it's also not our job to gatekeep. And it's not our job to, okay, if I was a student in a classroom and there are rules at the front of the class, I can't go to the whole class and be like, "Guys, are you following the rules?" It's my job to follow the rules. And then at the end of the day, I have to answer to God if I did follow the rules or I did not follow the rules. That will be between him and I. And unless your sin hurts other people, which sin usually does, but unless you're actively, really hurting someone, and you're just trying, I don't see the need to come down on that. Jesus never once compromised his principles ever, but and he wasn't some, passive hippie that just, did whatever, but all he did was in love, all of it. So, I think that's the only example we can take. And I don't know, that's just something I see a lot. It seems to be either to one extreme or the next, is that, people don't want anything to do with God, or they want to police everyone about God. But it just, for me, I remember the things I've done. Like, you can ask people who I've done bad things. I have, think of your worst deed. Think of if you would ever want that to be the standard of judgment. And think about how much the judgment does hurt. It hurts very much to be judged, because people can only know what they see. They don't see into your heart. And when you first become a Christian, it's a growing process. It took me so many years. And I loved God from the beginning. I always loved him. But I just wasn't grown up or mature enough to carry that out in a way that would be even visible to other people other than what I said. But I just wanted to share these verses. Okay. If anyone thinks they are something they are not, then if anyone thinks they are something when they are not, they deceive themselves. That's Galatians 6:3. It's pretty clear. You therefore have no excuse to pass judgment on someone else. For at whatever point you judge another, you are condemning yourself, because you pass judgment on the same things you have done. So, we've all come short. We've all, fallen short of the standard we should have been at. And the thing is that, we don't have to live in that. We don't have to keep doing it. And we don't have to say it's okay, and we don't have to feel condemnation all the time and always remember what we did. But I don't know. I just think that it goes on a lot, and it's off-putting. It's really, and especially, sometimes people need just enough to just take that next step. So, there's people I've met who I know I'm never going to see again. There's friends I've had who we had spiritual differences. We believed two totally different things. And, I would only get those amounts of time to talk to them. And I can't sit around and wait and see, did they do what they were supposed to? Are they Christian now? We tell people what Jesus helped us. We tell people what he means to us, and then they find out what Jesus means to them. That's how I look at it. But never ever, there's discernment and there's judgment. It's a fine line, and I so respect people that are just trying to call things out and help people. But I just feel like that sometimes let God do that. And that's how I feel. I just I hated to see an effort that wasn't clearly wrong, kind of put down in his own community, because but anything you do, someone's going to have a problem with, so. But anyway, thank you so much, and I hope that my meaning came through clearly on this, and I hope you all have a good day. Thanks, bye.